In this tutorial, we will be showing you how to send a listing to a client using RealtyMX. What we're looking at right now is the dashboard for the software. So once you're on this page, you will have already logged in, and the next step is to go ahead and click on Search up here towards the top. Now, once you're on this page, you will have the ability to submit the various search criteria that is relevant to your client. The most important thing to point out is the listing type. So the default listing type in the search in RealtyMX is a rental. If you work mostly in sales, you'll want to make sure you remember to click this right away. Otherwise, you're not going to get any results. The other thing we suggest before you proceed is to remove the in-contract listings from the status options. And the reason for that is, in general, most buyers become quite frustrated if you send them listings that are no longer available. And so sending somebody an in-contract listing, getting their hopes up, might not be the best idea. Now, once you've done the listing type update and the status modification, you can proceed to put it in, whatever other criteria you need. The first thing I typically do is go into locations. So let's say, for example, today the client is looking on the Upper West Side. So we can click on the specific neighborhood, and if you'd like, you can also click on an entire borough. So if you want to do all of Queens, if you click the one on the left here and you expand it, you'll see that every single neighborhood in Queens is automatically selected. So we will uncheck Queens for the time being, and then let's go up to the price. So feel free to put whatever is relevant here to your client. In this case, let's say the maximum is 1.5 and the minimum is 800. And let's assume that the client is looking for a condominium. So in that case, we would click on condominium. Make sure you pay attention to this field when running the search. In most cases, your buyer is going to be looking for a co-op, primarily due to affordability, and most listings in the city are co-ops. So you want to be extra careful here that you do actually click on co-op if your client is open to both property types. Let's also say for this particular example, the client is looking for a minimum of a 1-bedroom. So on the left here is the lowest requirement that your buyer needs. Now, obviously, there's no reason for us to cap the maximum. If there happens to be a 5-bedroom apartment that is under $1.5 million, it sounds like a pretty good deal. So why would we want to restrict ourselves from seeing that in the search results? So you would just want to leave this as max. And the same goes for bathrooms. If we're looking for a minimum of 1.5, we don't feel that the client would have any issue with 2 or 2.5 baths, assuming we're staying within their price range. And a quick note of caution about all of these other fields here. The more specific you get with your search, the greater the likelihood is that some of the listing data might be inaccurate. So for example, if you click on something like high ceilings, it's highly unlikely that every listing with high ceilings in the city has been correctly marked as such. And therefore, you may artificially reduce the number of listings that are candidates by way of being overly specific on anything that is apart from price, size, layout, condo versus co-op, so on and so forth. Another example would be possibly even pre-war or post-war. It's unclear whether or not the databases being used will be all totally accurate. So if you click on post-war, it is possible that certain buildings that are post-war might not be correctly identified, and then you would be missing out, and your buyer would be missing out on those listings. So we will leave all of this blank for now, and then let's go ahead and click search. So we're looking at the results page here, and the purpose of this video is to show you how to email a particular listing to a client. So let's go ahead and do that. So we will pick this one right here, just a random selection, and then you would want to go up to email/print. Now keep in mind you can select multiple listings. So in this case we can select 2, let's say, and then go ahead and click email. So as you may have noticed there was a bit of a lag, but it was actually because I needed to scroll to the top of the page to get to the email box. So if you're lower down and you click on email and you think that nothing is happening, please do scroll up and you should see it here on the left. So in the to field, you can input the name of your client. In this case, we're just going to put some test email. So I hope nobody has that email address. If they do, they're going to get something from us. And keep in mind, you can put multiple emails. So, if you have a client, maybe there are two of them together, partners or whatnot, you can send it to both of them. No reason as well for you not to check on include open houses. In an ideal world, your buyer is going to these open houses, and so it makes a lot of sense for you to give them a heads up. If they like the listing, they see the open house, they might actually go and see it. Now for the subject line, this is really where your creativity comes into play. Most buyers go to many open houses and they're in touch with loads of agents. They get spammed almost with tons of inquiries and follow-up emails all day long. So you really want to come up with a subject line that helps you stand out. You can be creative here. One strategy that I personally use is I think about my own personal emails and I think about which solicitation emails that I receive I actually pay attention to. So you want to try to figure out what works on you, might work on others. Try to be creative, and so you can fill in the subject line with anything that you can think of. So in this case, we're just going to put something like, what are your thoughts on this one, Jack? And let's say Jack is the name of the buyer. Contact info, in theory you want to put your contact info. Now for the address, it's up to you. If you want to show the street name or the full address, inventory is pretty transparent in the city now, so the last thing you want to do is frustrate your client by not telling them where the property is, but it is up to you. You can show the street name only. In this case, we're going to show the full address, and we'll put a note here to Jack. So let's write something like this. So I had just come up with that on the fly, but the takeaway in regard to the message that you write is you should really try to make it end with a call to action. So the last thing you want to write is, "Hi Jack, please be advised that there's a new listing available, period." That email does not encourage anybody to respond. So in this case, literally added 2 direct questions to the client to try to maximize the likelihood of some engagement. I would also suggest you click on copy to myself, as there is some benefit in theory to seeing physically in your own inbox the work that you've put in on the RealtyMX system. So before you hit email, you can also click on preview. This will open up a new tab and it will actually show you what the email will look like. So you can see here that the text we wrote does appear. The 2 listings we selected are also on the preview, and then the default contact information in your account will appear below. So if the buyer likes what they see, they can reply to the email. They could even click on this hyperlink to get in touch with you. So assuming you're happy with the preview, you would go ahead and click email, and then it gives you a notification that it was sent successfully. If you have any questions, leave a comment below the video. We wish you good luck with your clients, and let us know if there's any way we can help you out in the field.